Hi, I'm Peter Russo, and we're doing a podcast via Skype today for technical difficulties with everything we've tried. So we're going to do this, and today we have a guest, Jim. It says William Murdoch over there, but his name is Jim. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning. Glad to be here.
And Rich
Good morning.
and Frank.
Good morning. Good morning.
Okay, so we don't have. We're going to just punt, and we're going to interview Jim because he's got a phenomenal company going there in Palm Springs, I believe it is. Is it Palm Springs?
No,
Our store is actually in Rancho Mirage.
Rancho Mirage. Okay, so Dick, why don't you give a lead in because you were the one that was enamored by it and turned us on to such a cool thing.
Okay, well, I went to a Rancho Mirage Chamber of Commerce mixer, and it was held at Pirch. And, it's a very impressive facility with high-end appliances and bathroom fixtures and all of the today's type of material. So it's really an impressive showroom. And I got talking to people, and I spoke to Jim's director of business development, and she was talking. We were talking about Pirch and all. And she said, "Well, do you come to our lunches on Friday?" And I said, "No, I'd heard about them, but I just expected they were for potential clients of or contractors and all that you're trying to build relationships with and loyalty." And she said, "No, we have it for everybody." And I said, "Well, like I said, I heard about it. I didn't want to be a freeloader here." She said, "No, we'd like you to come. It's for anybody. It's something we do every Friday." And she went in and told me about something they're doing for the Rancho Mirage High School arts thing, and had a dinner and had the students, waiting tables and doing things and cleaning up after, and whatever money was made was donated back to the high school. And they said, "That's the culture of Pirch." And I said, "Wow, that's amazing." And then I think I met Jim probably at that lunch. I went to it, and very receptive, open, great guy. Didn't know me from Adam. It took me the time to talk with me, and I explained to him about our podcast and that we'd love to do one. And I'm sorry for all the technical difficulties we're having. This is the first that we've had to do this. But he said, yeah, he'd be interested. So I sent him a link, and over a couple weeks we spoke. And Peter, you know my feelings on calling people back, and I can't be more impressed with Jim because I called him one day to confirm that he wanted to do this, and I left a message, and he didn't. The message, maybe because I mumbled or something, he couldn't get the message, and he didn't recognize my name. He called me back anyways, and to me that is just the height of professionalism. I just love it, and we talked about it, and I've gone to a couple lunches, and I sat with two of his customers last week, and they're telling me that they're in looking for, they're redoing their kitchen and looking for stuff. And one of the employees around noontime, it might have been Jim, I'm not sure, came over and said, "Hey, we're going to go out and get some burgers for lunch. You want some?" And I thought, wow, this is an amazing thing. So I think from my perspective of it is, I think this is one of the most unique cultures in today's world, and as I try to analyze their thinking, I think they're trying to go back to being the neighborhood appliance store where everybody walked in, knew your name, and knew that, and everybody knew each other, and they're trying to get that culture, and I just can't commend them enough for doing that. So that's kind of the lead that I thought I'd like to give.
So Jim, tell us a bit about your company and why do you do free lunches, and give us a feel of the culture there.
I'd be happy to. Our company was founded by a guy named Jim Stewart down in San Diego about 7 years ago. And the reason he decided that he wanted to get into the appliance and decorative plumbing fixture business is because he was building a home down in the San Diego area. And he had such a rotten experience with the vendors that were down in his area. All he really wanted to do was he has a young family, and he wanted to be able to share the experience of learning how to cook with his family, and basically all of the joy of that experience of wanting to create that kitchen that the kids could participate with him and learn how to cook was sucked away by the horrible customer service, the lack of return phone calls, the no post-sale service. And so he thought, and by the way, he's an extraordinarily successful entrepreneur in other fields. His last venture was up in Silicon Valley with a startup that went very well for him. And so he thought, I can do better than this. This is a real opportunity. So he started the business. We started down in San Diego, and he's the one who started the culture. And then Jeffrey Sears, our CEO, took it to a whole new level. The culture is all about helping our clients not just come in and decide what kind of refrigerator they want, what kind of appliances they want, what kind of decorative plumbing fixture they want. We want them to think about how do they want to live in the home. In fact, when you come into our showroom, we don't ask what do you want to buy. We ask how do you want to live? Wow. What do you want to do? Yeah. And one of the ways that we've tried to emphasize and establish this culture is by not necessarily hiring people from the industry, because we felt like the industry was broken. If you go to a lot of appliance or decorative plumbing stores anywhere in the nation, anywhere in the world for that matter, what you get a lot of order takers who don't really want to provide you with value added. They just want to take your order, process your order, take your check, and be on their way. And we want to be part of your life. And that's so. Having said that, obviously we have to be economically viable. We have to be able to sell. But the first order of business at Pirch, every single day in every single one of our stores across the nation, is making sure that our customers are coming in and feeling comfortable in the retail environment. Dick was talking about the customer who was sitting in our showroom, and it was about lunchtime, and a lot of times lunchtime for us doesn't get till about 2 o'clock because we got a lot of projects going on. And the clients have been sitting with one of my designers for 4 hours already. And of course, we serve complimentary beverages like coffee and iced tea and fruit juice and so on, soda pop. And obviously they've been working hard. So we did. We've got a hamburger joint across the street, and we brought them hamburgers. But that's part of being part of our family. And if you come into my business, we want you to be part of my family.
Wow. That's crazy. So, but you also have a thing on Fridays, right?
Thursday. Yes, we do. We call it Fridays at Pirch, and I actually have an executive chef on staff, and every Friday he comes in and he prepares a community luncheon, and we call it a networking luncheon. We have been serving between 150 to 175 people every Friday in a 90-minute time frame. My chef's name is Mark Rudy. His previous employment was as the executive chef for the only catering company that was permitted to do catering at San Simeon and Hearst Castle. And so he comes with a great resume. But honestly, his performance here every single Friday, he just resets the bar. The reason we do that is because we think that you can't really value the Pirch experience. You can't understand the Pirch experience unless you're in my showroom and you have an opportunity to meet my staff, to look at my showroom, to see the working display, to see the working shower wall that we have where you can actually look at shower heads that are being demonstrated live by pressing a button on a display board. And, advertising, there's a lot of ways to advertise: TV, radio, print. You think about what it costs to buy one page of a glossy, even locally here in the Coachella Valley. It is an expensive endeavor, and it's a very risky endeavor because you never know when people are just going to page through the book, say, oh my gosh, what a pretty ad, not even look and see who the ad was by and keep flipping through because they're reading about the tennis tournament or celebrities in Palm Springs or what have you. By taking those marketing dollars that I have access to and making all of my marketing event driven, whether it's the Rancho Mirage Chamber of Commerce or my Friday lunches or the Desert Valley Builders Association, American Heart Association, whatever it happens to be, and getting folks into our store, what we're doing is we're creating an environment, we think, where we're creating a buzz in the valley. So when people talk about the people that come to my lunch, they may not be ready to buy today. They may not be ready to buy next month. But I guarantee you that all of them know somebody who's in a position where they need to replace an appliance. And if that appliance comes up in conversation, they're going to say, you know, I was at this place called Pirch over there on Bob Hope and 111, and oh my goodness, you need to go take a look at that showroom. Those people are great. That's what we're trying to do. And that's why that lunch is part of an overall event marketing scheme that we use to introduce people to the concept. Now, do we do TV? Yeah, we do a little TV. Do we do radio? I partner with the radio station on events. We're actually doing on April 1st, 8th, and 15th of this year, we are doing a firehouse cooking competition in our showroom where the local firehouses in Rancho Mirage, Station 50, 69, E55 down in Indian Wells and so on are going to be coming in, and the guys who love to cook in those firehouses are going to come in and do a cooking competition in my showroom, in my working kitchen.
Wow.
I'm going to have a staff of professional culinary like chefs that'll be doing the judging, and we're partnered with the radio station with Crater Lake Vodka to and all of the proceeds, by the way, I'm charging $10 at the door. All the proceeds are going to go, 100% of the proceeds are going to go to the Rancho Mirage Firemen's Benevolent Fund, and as part of our community involvement. But we're doing it specifically because, I mean, for us, the economic motive is we're not making any money on selling tickets. We want to introduce new people who might be interested in supporting our local first responders to our showroom so that they say, oh my gosh, not only was it a fun event, but that showroom is really spectacular.
Wow, that's crazy good. Frank, you want to jump in? You have anything to say?
I'm blown away. Jim, I knew nothing about Pirch. I don't know where your store is, and I've driven by Bob Hope and 111, and I was always thinking of something else. That will never happen again. Now that I've listened to you and your story, I'm impressed with you, and you're here. I'm still impressed with you, but I'm very impressed with Jim Stewart, who came up with this idea. You can buy an appliance anywhere. I can go to Home Depot and Lowe's, or even Walmart, and buy an appliance. You're not selling appliances, because if all you're selling is appliances, you lose, because you can't you can't beat Walmart in terms of price, or even Costco. But what you're doing, which is very impressive, is that you're doing for appliances, and I'm going to use an extreme example to prove a point. You're doing to the appliance business what Howard Schultz did to the coffee business. You can buy coffee anywhere, but you only get the Starbucks experience by walking into a Starbucks store. You can buy appliances anywhere, appliances or showerheads, whatever that you sell, but you can't get the Pirch experience. And I think what you're doing with community involvement, with the first, you call them first responders, with the library and with other charities that you support, it's Jim, you and the other, we'll call it Jim Squared. You guys should write a book about this, because I think this is outstanding. I am blown away by and like I say, and I came in cold because I knew nothing about you before this morning. And so I am just blown away, and I look forward to at least driving by and say, "Oh, there is Pirch." You know, before I ignored it because I had no reason to look, and now I have a reason to look, and I think that's just fantastic.
I think
there's a
field trip in our future here.
Yeah,
the three of us go visit the store there and capture that experience. You know, one of the nice things that I hear is, you know, you're building a relationship before you ask for a sale. And that's extremely smart, you know.
Well, we actually have a strategy. You know, we have an immersion class that all of our new employees go through before they ever get to come to work in the store down in San Diego. It's been crafted by Jeffrey Sears, our CEO, and Mark Tomaszewicz, who's our basically our cultural ambassador. His actual title is Ambassador of Joy. And they've crafted this 3-day immersion. It's 10 hours a day, and new employees go through this and they learn about the history of the company. They learn about the whys. Why are we doing what we're doing? Why does it make sense? And honestly, this is not just marketing hocus pocus. We're actually there's neuroscience behind things that we do in terms of the showroom experience. Let me give you an example of what I mean. If you've ever worked in the retail environment or just gone into a retail store and watched consumer behavior, you see an awful lot of people walking through the door, crossing their arms over their chest, and trying to avoid contact with salespeople at all costs, because, as we all know, salespeople are Svengalis who can compel us to pull our checkbooks out of our pocket and buy things that we really don't want. And nothing could be further from the truth. However, it's a very standoffish relationship. And so when you walk into a Pirch store, what we want to do is we want you to feel like you belong here. We want to elevate your status. The first thing that we try to do every single time someone comes into our store here in Rancho Mirage, and this goes for every store that we have, is we offer a complimentary beverage. We have a commercial espresso machine. We have handcrafted beverages like this quarter we're offering iced tea, limeade, infused water, filtered water, and so on. We want you to understand that you're not in a regular place. And then we want to explain to you what we do and how we do it. We want to explain to the customer that not only do we offer all of these beautiful things, but on the appliance side, we actually have Pirch employees who will install it for you, so you don't have to worry about who's going to install your appliances. We have these conversations. Before we ever talk about product, we explain what the concept is. And so when the three of you make your field trip to the showroom, I hope you'll let me know so that I can have one of my folks give you a typical experience of what it looks like to come in as a customer, so that you can see how we want to put everybody at ease. Because when you walk into a Pirch, and Dick can testify to this, when you first walk through the door, you're really not sure what you're looking at, because it's big, it's shiny, there's barbecues on one side, there's a coffee machine on the other, and when you go deep into the showroom, you see fixtures and so on. You really don't know what the heck you're looking at. Is it a appliance store? Is it a countertop store? Is it a backsplash store? What the heck's going on? And it's all of that approach is based on the neuroscience of retail customers and the fear that they exhibit going into a new place unless they've already been there before, and how you need to break that down so they feel comfortable.
You know, Jim, I'm going to jump in a second. A couple of things is that neuroscience is right as far as me. I know when I walk into a store and I'm looking for something, but you're really unsure of what. Yeah, I have my arms folded, and my defensive mechanisms are up. Absolutely right. The second thing, walking into your store, you shouldn't call it a store, your showroom. To the right you have that little coffee bar almost, and there's people there, and you get greeted friendly, and really a wonderful, wonderful experience. The thing that it just impresses the daylights out of me is, when I was working before I retired. I had responsibility for sales and marketing for electronics distribution company, and we went to a Deming philosophy, and we were just unable to get that culture, and we did the trainings and everything. We were just unable to get that culture to take hold. If the fact that in 3 days of training, as you hire somebody, you get that result is just amazing. And I would imagine your turnover rate has got to be very, very low. I can't imagine you have a very high turnover.
It is low, and it's, but I have to tell you that it's the quality of the people that we look for is what makes that class a success. And I mentioned earlier that we don't necessarily hire from within our own industry. We try to find quality people, and if they came from the industry, great, but that's a rarity. It's I'll give you an example, a success story in my own showroom. I have a young lady that I hired about 6 months ago. She was a bar manager, and a single mom, and she was really looking for a career where she wasn't out until 2 o'clock every morning taking care of a bar because she had this young child at home. But if you're looking for boxes, you're looking for someone who's charismatic, if you're looking for someone who's attractive, if you're looking for someone who's articulate, and most importantly, if you're looking for someone who's genuine, all those boxes were checked. Now, she didn't know a faucet from a valve, and she didn't know a cooktop from a range, but none of that mattered because, listen, she was bright, she's intelligent, as I said, articulate. I can have that training available, but there's no way you can train attitude. I mean, you either got it or you don't have it. And so you can take run-of-the-mill, you can take a less qualified in terms of a cultural fit candidate, put them in that training, and it works for a week, and then it wears off, and then they've got this mercenary attitude if they're going on the sales floor, or maybe a 9 to 5 clock watching attitude if they're going into the admin side of the business. But when you hire quality people, and believe me, we pay top of market scale for all of our positions, but it's because we want to hire quality people, and as you said, we want to eliminate turnover. As you gentlemen know, the biggest asset we have is not our showroom. The biggest asset we have is our staff.
That's so rare. So rare that people think like that. It's impressive to hear the truth coming out of somebody's mouth that's actually doing it out there, So, yeah, that's great. Hey, and now, Jim, the web that you have, and that's kind of my world, phenomenal. And that's all done in-house, and the videos, Dick and I were watching the videos the other day, extremely top-notch. I mean, over-the-top good. Talk to us about that talented gentleman.
Our creative director is named Ted Trotwine, and he's been in the advertising business, in the advertising world, and all the best places to be in the advertising world for a long time. Jeffrey Sears had past experience with him under previous companies that our CEO, that Jeffrey Sears, who he worked with Ted in the past. And so we asked Ted to join us on a full-time basis because he understands culturally what we're trying to accomplish. And really, that's how Ted's lived his life. I mean, Ted, if you were to spend an hour with Ted, you would understand that the culture that I've tried to describe today is something that just comes to him naturally. And so Ted designs the creative materials, whether it's the sayings that we put on walls in all of our showrooms. And by the way, we have showrooms, I should probably parenthetically add, we have showrooms in San Diego, Costa Mesa, Glendale, Chicago at Oak Brook Mall, in Dallas at North Park, in Atlanta in Buckhead, and we're opening up New Jersey in 2 weeks. All of those showrooms, we have kind of lifestyle sayings that are on the walls and in vignettes. And Ted writes all of those to try to give the showrooms that homey feel. And when you look at the website, one of the things you probably noticed about the website is it didn't include a long list of products that we sell, and it didn't include a long list of prices. It's really a tribute to the lifestyle philosophy that we're trying to convey to our clientele, to our business partners even, whether, upstream and downstream. And everything that we do, everything that we publish from, we have these little calling cards that we have in the showroom, up to and including our television advertising and our videos that we have on our website. They're all designed specifically with a motif in mind and with a theme in mind, which is about the lifestyle experience. And one of my favorite ones is there's a photo that we use. It's just this cute little toddler with a peeking around a corner with a mischievous look in his eye, and it when you look at that photo, it puts you right in your own home, looking at your own family and looking at the joy that you get to have every single day in your own home. Ted is the guy who just instinctively creates that, and it's really truly amazing.
Yeah, I've got the front of the website up right now, so we'll be able to see that. And here you can't see it, but I'm recording my screen, so there he is. So the little kid looks like he's been mischievous there with the toilet paper.
Exactly. It's a great photo, and it really just puts you right in your own home.
Yeah, that's a great photo. And another interesting part of this whole thing, and you can see it, each of these photos have a bit of a snap of a lifestyle. They're capturing people enjoying themselves, and families, and the fun that has. And so the other thing too, what do you have? 8 words on the front page?
Right.
There's nothing other than kitchen, bath, outdoor, laundry, partners, news, care, the why, the careers, the gallery, events, and a blog. Just classy, I guess I'd have to say. This is very classy and very upscale and very new looking. So, Frank, did you want to say something?
Yeah. Excuse me. I'm just trying to take it all in, Jim, and absorb all this stuff. Now I have a new hero on my list. A guy named Ted. I don't even know Ted's last name. He sounds like he's Greek or something.
Troutwine.
Right.
Okay. Anyway, man, that's that impressive. And we've never met. It's the first time we spoke to each other. But I'm a big proponent of stories. And when I work with companies, I try to tell them, hey, don't tell them what you do. Tell them a story.
Right.
But that's only phase 1. You've already jumped to phase 2, Jim, in your company. Yes, we want to hear the story of Pirch, and that's nice. But when I walk into your store as a consumer, I already have a story in my head. And I'm looking to see if you can complement or augment my story, not yours. And sounds like Ted has taken that concept to but on the website, went and all of the videos, he's saying, hey, can you relate to this little impy kid looking around the corner? I can't see the picture with, I guess, toilet paper in his hands or whatever it is. And if I can relate that to my story, now you're more important to me than before I walked into your store or before I went onto your website. All of a sudden now we have a relationship. We have a connection. We have a reason why I think you can help, not your story, my story. And I think that, man, I'm going to compare you guys to Tony Shea, the guy who sells shoes online at Zappos. Again, it's I'm looking forward to walking into your store, Jim, and again, not because I'm in the market, but you're darn right. I bet you I'm going to come across people who are, and I will look for the opportunity because I like what you're doing, to say you've got to check out Pirch.
Yes. Frank, one of the things that you said just now is something that we really believe in, and what you said was consumers, clients, business partners can relate to what we're doing. They can relate to the photos on our website. They can relate to those experiences that we're trying to illustrate. And that's one of the key components to how we try to connect with our clientele, is by relatedness. We want the client to not just see all of these pretty, shiny, sparkly appliances and decorative plumbing fixtures and outdoor grills and so on. We want them to understand how they could work in their own home. We want them to imagine how they could work in their own home. And relatedness is one of the 5 tenets of experience that we try to imbue, and we try to offer folks, whether they're here for a cup of coffee or they're actually here to make purchasing decisions. We want them to understand how this relates to their own home. You're exactly right. That's a very astute observation.
It's almost the culture of experience. You want them to feel you guys are the culture of experience.
Yes.
Frank, what do you think of that, huh?
Yeah, I like that. Again, I'm thinking of, I don't know if you know who John Taffer is, Jim. He has a show on Spike TV called Bar Rescue. Bar being B-A-R.
Oh, yeah.
I dropped the R's because I'm from Boston. We don't need them. So we have a Bar Rescue. And he was on, and he does every Sunday night. And he has a show, and he said to a bar owner, he says, "You're not selling Coronas. I can get a Corona anywhere. You're selling the experience I have when I'm drinking a Corona in your bar. That's what you're selling. The experience of coming into Pirch. Now they may or may not buy from you, but chances are they will, because it's the reason why people pay $2 and $4 for a 50-cent cup of coffee at Starbucks. It's because the experience. I want to be part of the Pirch community. I want to be part of the Starbucks. I want to be part of the Zappos community. Man, this is blown me away. This is again. Lastly, I didn't know until half hour before the show who was going to be on, and then I remember Dick something about this guy, and all I knew was Pirch sells appliances and has free lunches on Friday. That's all I knew coming in. But it's interesting. And here's the interesting part. No, I have no idea what that lunch cost you, and that's not important. The fact that you do it gave Dick a reason to tell me and Peter, hey, I thought about this appliance. Oh, good, another appliance store. Here we go, Pacific Sales. Oh, man. But no, here's what these guys do. A free lunch. Oh, yeah, for their customers. No, for anybody. And I said, wow. That was, and it's amazing. And again, excuse me for talking on because I get very emotional here. But you're taking and I call it misallocated when you go on print ads, because I think, but that's my opinion, I think they're overpriced. And you're taking that and putting to something a lot more effective. I think that thing you're doing with the first responders, with the fireplaces there, the fire stations, that's awesome. And then you're going to have a TV, a link with a local TV station that's going to talk about, no, by the way, this is done at Pirch. And I'm going to see Pirch. Where are they? 111 in Bob Hope. Man, I drive by there. I've never seen them. I will never drive by there again, Jim, without looking at your store. At least looking at a sign. So, yeah. Congratulations.
Well, Frank, stop driving by. Come on in and share a cup of coffee with me.
You got it. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, the thing I'd like to just point out here is the lunch is almost secondary to the experience. Like I said, I had heard about it before, but I didn't go because I didn't want to be a freeloader. I network, with my home-based business all the time, 2-3 nights a week. But I didn't want to go in and be a freeloader. But the thing that impressed me were the people, and the facility's great. But everybody talked to that as an employee at Pirch was just consistently pleasant. Open, you got to, they're so proud of what you're doing for the community, and they mentioned the lunch. So I don't want, to give the impression it's all about a free lunch. It's just walking in that place, you feel good, and to the point of being on my mind, I already have talked to. I live at Palm Valley Country Club, and there's a lot of renovations going on. And friends, I already mentioned the 2 people I renovated. To stop by your place because I just think it's a great experience. So.
Yeah, I like it.
again, I walked out of there impressed. I can remember coming home that night and talking to my wife, and I said, "Geez, I never really heard of this place, but these people are wonderful, and what they do is amazing. The give back is amazing, and the pride that people show in it is absolutely. As a person who managed a lot of people in my life, I've never been able to get that much accomplished with a group of people as far as getting that much pride in what they're doing." So.
Boy, you know, it sounds like a podcast series to me. Of course, I'm sitting here drooling thinking,
Yeah.
wow, you could have a podcast with, with the staff discussing a particular barbecue, right? Or stuff, what people should look for in barbecues. The next podcast is, those for Sub-Zeros or refrigerators and capturing the experience, that it's what it's all about as opposed to just the end product. It's the experience of it. That'd be wild for me. But
to me, a podcast would be if a customer volunteered, or one of us going in as a customer and going through the experience.
Yeah.
Of I think that would be great. So.
Could you even imagine filming and producing the 3-day immersive thing too? Mm-hmm. Have you guys thought about doing that, Jim, at all?
We actually have had some business writers that have gone through the 3-day process with staff, and you can actually find online articles about guys that have been through, guys and gals actually, that have been through the class and talk about what it's like experientially. And it's interesting, the takeaway. My entire staff went through that training. I came on board before they'd ever developed the training, and then we developed it, and then we started cycling all of the existing employees through the training. I didn't go until I was the very last one, and it was interesting from my perspective because I'm in the showroom every single day, and
When we first came together, we didn't know what to expect or how we'd feel, especially at the end.
All we knew was we had something beautiful,
Meaningful.
Honest. Timeless.
something impossible to describe. But we decided to try.
Because it's the only way we could share it.
It was hard.
It was effortless.
It was eye-opening.
It was chaotic.
But turns out,
it was possible.
What came of it was
beautiful, meaningful,
honest,
timeless,
and definitely worth sharing with someone you love.
It was interesting to watch the employees who were returning from the immersion class. Their vocabulary had changed subtly, but I could hear it. And they understood a little bit more about why we were asking them to do things. And then when I finally went through it, then I understood where those new vocabulary words came from. One of the words that comes through that we emphasize pretty strongly in that immersion class is the word empathy. We want our staff, whether they're dealing with internal customers or external customers, to be able to put themselves in their co-respondent's place to understand why what they're doing is important. Early on, Dick talked about returning phone calls and so on, and there's nothing worse than engaging the services of a tradesperson or an appliance person, and then feeling like your activity went down to the bottom of a deep, dark well, and you never hear anything back until you call back in to find out where the heck things are going on. And we try to remind our employees of what it's like being on either side, because when you strip away all of the activity that we're doing here and you get right down to it, we process thousands of transactions a year. That's thousands of transactions throughout the valley of people that are doing things in their homes. But if Dick Bentley is in his home in Palm Valley and he's trying to update his bathroom, and we built this excitement about the new fixtures that he's selected, and so he's elected which ones he wants, and he's placed his order, and then he has to call back in 3 weeks and say, remember me, I placed that order, and when is that stuff coming in, because nobody's called me back. Well, then all of those thousands of dollars in marketing, all of the effort we put into the front-end experience is worthless because we let it go on the back end. So you have to be able to have empathy and understand that in Dick Bentley's life, that's the most important thing in his home right now is getting that bathroom finished, because he's got guests coming in 4 days and he needs to have the walls buttoned up. Well, you know what? If you don't have empathy, it's like, oh, well, yeah, well, sorry about that. I got tied up and we had another luncheon on Friday and I couldn't call you then. And then I had that charity event that we hosted on Saturday night and I just got tired, didn't do it. It's so easy to lose that edge. And that's why, listening to that word empathy and having it come back from that class that we have put everybody through, and then it works when your employees come back with the vocabulary, but then when you go online and you read the articles that people have written about it, you can see how it really does have an impact.
Well, I forget the gentleman's name. I think you said he's the director of Joy. Does he do that 3-day immersion?
Actually, Mark Tomaszewicz is the ambassador of Joy, and he hosts the event along with our CEO, Jeffrey Sears. They actually block out 3 days, either once or twice a month, depending on the number of new employees we have. And, of course, we've just opened up, Chicago, Dallas, Atlanta, New Jersey, staff those times 60 people each. So then you're talking about 240 people. Wow. So, and we've run 240 people through that program So, depending on level of staffing and level of need, those guys are actually dedicating 3 of their days. So imagine the CEO of a $500 million company taking 3 days out twice a month. Yeah. That's how important we perceive this to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, Jim, how did you come to start working for Pirch?
I guess the short version is that I've had a place out here in the desert for quite some time, and I decided that I had been working for a furniture company that went under, and I decided to move out to the desert, find a job out here, and enjoy the resort lifestyle while I was working. And so I moved out here, and a week later, a friend of mine who owned another furniture business in Costa Mesa, California, said, I've kind of got a problem here. I wonder if you could come help me out. And so I went out there and I told him, yeah, I can, we can put this thing back on its feet in about 8 weeks. Well, 4.5 years later, I was still commuting from Palm Springs to Costa Mesa. Oh. And right across the parking lot, we, at the time, this business I'm working in now called Pirch was actually called Fixtures Living. And they opened up their third showroom, in Costa Mesa, right across the parking lot from the business that I was running. And and we watched that showroom be built out. It was about a 6-month build out, and it was probably roughly a $5 million, $6 million build out. of the space, and we watched. We couldn't understand what they were doing. It was really a phenomenal experience to watch them build the showroom out. And one of the gals that went to work in the Costa Mesa store for Fixtures Living, her dad was a furniture rep who knew me, and they were having a difficult time staffing management here in the desert. And she said, well, there's this guy that manages that business across the parking lot, and he comes from Palm Springs. And so one day I got a phone call. I was actually in Yorba Linda at a bar celebrating a friend's birthday, and I got this call from a guy named Tom Cavallo, who is the VP of Sales and is the VP of Sales for Pirch now. And he said, hey, this is going to be a weird phone call for you, but I know that you work in Costa Mesa and you live in Palm Springs, and I've got this business in Rancho Mirage. You might want to come talk to me about it. Well, Tom used to play for the 49ers, and so, we made an appointment. I drove out. I actually, I took my day off on a Wednesday. I came out to the Rancho Mirage showroom, and I met Tom. Tom was a linebacker, rather imposing figure. And so we sat down, and he's very soft-spoken, very articulate, very un-linebacker-like, by the way. And we talked a little bit, and, in 3 weeks, I'd made the decision. It wasn't a very hard decision, by the way, to cut my commute down from 2 hours one way to 17 minutes one way. That didn't take a lot of brain power. And so that's how they came across me. I actually came originally from the electronics world. I was a national sales manager for a very well-known boutique stereo gear company, and kind of evolved into I did a lot of sales training, ironically, for retail. Having never worked the retail floor, I felt it was a little bit disingenuous for me to do it, but they kept asking me to do it. And I ended up in the retail environment and found out that what I'd been telling those guys all that time was really a load of bunk. I should have lived that life before I tried to tell anybody about it. And now I feel like I've got the best of both worlds. I've got that manufacturing side business experience as well as the retail side experience. And I think it's paid off for me here in Rancho Mirage because we do a lot of production business with builders as well as the retail business.
Hey, Jim, what's the story behind the company name Pirch?
Well, we were called Fixtures Living. And when we opened that Costa Mesa location, what we discovered was that the buying public views the word fixtures in a different context than we were using it. They were actually, the consuming world was viewing that word as lighting fixtures. Wow. So we had a never-ending stream of people walking into the showroom saying, well, where's your lights? Looking around at these pretty appliances and plumbing, and then where's your light fixtures? Well, we didn't have any. To solve that issue, we actually brought in lighting for a little while, just so they wouldn't be disappointed when they were there. That didn't last very long, and that was one reason why. But another reason why is our business model now is to put all of our new stores into luxury malls. All of our new stores are somewhere around 25 to 30,000 square feet. And we go into luxury malls. We're in the Garden State Plaza. We're in North Park in Dallas-Fort Worth, and Oak Brook in Chicago, and the Glendale Galleria here in Glendale, right below Bloomingdale's. And if you know anything about signage in malls, there's requirements with regard to with the size of your signs, and the size of the font. And if you were trying to fit the words Fixtures Living onto a sign that you'd be using at a mall, you'd find out that the font would have to be so small as to be practically indistinguishable from a long distance. And when you think about, who's in those malls like Victoria's Secret, or you think about Sephora, or you think about any of the high-end Coach. When you go to Coach, do you buy a Coach? No, you're buying purses. When you go to Apple, are you buying Apple? No, you're not buying apples. You're buying electronics. The name really didn't matter as much as the size and making sure that it was a word that we were familiar with. So we actually were able to come up with the word Pirch, which kind of implies nesting. And of course, we're feathering nests everywhere we go. So there was a lot of moving parts to come to that name. We spent a lot of time in market research coming up with it, and it's been quite successful.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. I mean, the thought process you put into every decision you seem to make is amazing, and the consistency of the thought process is really great.
Yeah, Jeff, we have an executive management team that is really high powered. Jeffrey Sears has one of his previous careers was as the CEO of CTI, Creative Touch Interiors, which was a huge force in flooring and both at the retail side as well as working with national builder accounts. And that business was eventually sold to Home Depot for well over $1 billion. And he's had a ton of experience in building startups into much larger entities.
Now, Jim, the building community, do you try to establish a good relationship with them? And if so, how do you do that?
We do. In my store in particular, we do more business with production builders than we do with at retail. In my location, let me back up and say that, for instance, in Costa Mesa, it's not unusual for us to see 1,800 people a week through that showroom. In Dallas-Fort Worth and the Pirch in North Park, it's not unusual for them to see 3,000 people in a week. If I see 3,000 people in 5 years here in my showroom, Rancho Mirage, I'll probably have a nosebleed. When people come into our showroom at the retail level, they've pre-qualified themselves pretty well. But in order to make this location work financially, we have to be a value-added asset to the builder community, and we do that by providing appliances and plumbing fixtures to the regional-sized builders that are stationed out here in the desert, and by able to provide installation of appliances. Again, another parenthetical statement. 93% of things that go wrong with appliances in the home are caused by faulty installation out of the gate. That's what our appliance manufacturers tell us. And so when we have Pirch trained and equipped installers going out to a builder and installing appliances for them, that builder doesn't have to worry about getting a service call on an appliance. That makes them feel warm and fuzzy inside. That gives us a distinct advantage over our competition. So yeah, the way that we do that is by, number one, we capture the business and then we smother it. I mean, when we capture a builder, we go out of our way to make sure that builder feels that I got an email this morning before we got on board. That's why I had to, during our pre-production discussion this morning, I had to drop off. One of my builders had a client that had a really simple refrigerator issue, and I happened to have an installation truck out in the field. So they called me at 8 o'clock this morning, and by 10 o'clock, I'm going to have the problem solved. That's what the builder loves, because all of a sudden they're heroes instead of goats.
Right. Very good. Now, the other thing that struck me is I'm really big in testimonials for sites, and I didn't see a ton of those. And listening to you talk, have you guys thought about possibly putting a camera crew from start to finish with the builder and then producing that as a testimonial, so to speak?
Not at the local level, and I don't know about at the national level. In other words, from corporate. We've been very focused. Our marketing efforts have been very focused over the past 24 months on expansion. And expanding into a marketplace, as you guys know, is extraordinarily time-consuming and really, honestly, exhausting, because you need to go in, you need to address consumers, external business partners, suppliers, and so a lot of our time and energy, because we do things in-house, we don't outsource. You've got to choose your battles. You got to choose your battles. And so we really, at some point, we may do that. One of the things that we really do spend a lot of time on when you talk about testimonials is we really, really, really pay very close attention to Yelp. When we get when we receive a less than 5-star review on Yelp at any location, all engines stop. All resources are dedicated and devoted to finding out where did we fail, How can we fix it? And we actually will reach out to whoever it was, and we respond on Yelp. You know, Yelp is, for my generation at least, it's not necessarily our go-to resource for information. Well, maybe slowly but surely it's getting there. But you know, it's for that younger generation that you know they don't Google restaurants in Rancho Mirage. They go to Yelp and ask for restaurants, and then they start reading reviews to find out where they want to go. And so we really pay very close attention. And when you read those reviews on Yelp, those are some of the best testimonials in print that you can, or in print that you can actually get. It's from real life customers who are actually doing business with you and tell you how you're doing. And like I said, when we get a negative one, from the very top, the CEO, down to the store level, we try to figure out, we literally have a 5-page form that we fill out when we get a negative review. If we get a negative review, and God, I don't want any more negative reviews, to address those failures and figure out how we can improve and learn from them. And then by the same time, make sure that whoever it was that was having a negative experience with us has a positive experience for us. And I will share with you that about a month ago, I had a 1-star review, and it was all about not getting a return phone call. And when I unraveled it, I discovered that the client was trying to reach us on a Sunday. We're not open on Sundays, and he was upset that he didn't get a return phone call on a Sunday. But I was able to talk to the client, discover what the need was. I went out to the home personally, resolved the situation, and my 1-star review on Yelp, that same night he changed it to a 5-star review and talked about how he's a customer for life. He's never been treated so well in his life. Those negative Yelp reviews can be the best tool you have to understand where you're failing in your business, and then turn it around and make it a success story.
Yeah, that's true. I'm not a big fan of Yelp, as people who know me, but if you pay attention to that negative, passionately negative review, you can fix a lot of stuff in your business, as opposed to saying the guy that did the review was crazy, you know. So I applaud that. And on that note too, I didn't see a boatload of social media being used on the site at all. Are you guys going to start using more social media, or you're not looking in that direction?
We have a Facebook page, both for the corporate side as well as for the Rancho Mirage side. We have Twitter accounts. We are spending a lot of time on LinkedIn, in particular because we need employees in our new markets, and that seems to be the place to find them for our new marketplaces.
Oh.
And honestly, that's an element of our marketing space that needs more attention, both from the local level, and we operate fairly autonomously in our individual stores, but from the store level as well as corporately, we need to spend more time doing that. I don't necessarily think we've taken as much of advantage of that as we could have.
Yeah, you know, corporations now have what are they called? Chief social media officers.
Right.
And I'm on the site right now, and the social media is down at the very, very bottom, almost last thought, you know,
Mm-hmm.
which, you know, in engagement should be the top of mind. I would highly suggest to try to move those up to the top and get people talking and get the buzz going, because it's really a very positive thing. You talk about Yelp, and you know, Yelp is considered a social media, clearly. I meant really not by exact definition, but pretty close to it. So that's an. Yes, no, I understand that. Boy, I have clients where it just hammers us all the time, and but you know, in that case, I do the social media for that. Well, it's Charlie Maroney's, and I'm on top of their social media every day, and anybody checks in. You know, if they check in the facility, I immediately message them to see how their experience is, you know, and they love that. They absolutely love it. And oddly enough, we had a person who just hammered us on Facebook once, and none of what they said was really true. Even eyewitnesses even, and the loyal family of Facebook Charlie Maroney friends, they dogpiled on this guy. I didn't have to say anything. They literally dogpiled on this guy, and I had never seen that work like that.
Right.
And that's very powerful when you can collaborate or coagulate the same like minds on a Facebook page and have some activity with that on a daily basis, that word spreads a lot, So
Sure.
that might be something we should sit down and talk about somewhere downstream if you want to. But great. Okay. Anything else, guys? Dick, you want to weigh in on anything?
Well, no, I just want to thank Jim for coming
absolutely.
on. It's a shame that we had this technical difficulty. We've never had this happen in 40-something podcasts because, like we talked Tuesday, it would be great to see your showroom and your background. So hopefully maybe someday, in the near future, we can try it again and we can, you have the showroom setting and, and talk a little bit more. So, but I just want to say thanks.
What I think we should do, Dick, is we should probably visit and take some video with Jim's permission, of course.
Yeah.
And then maybe you and I have a secondary podcast like this where I can float the video in and we can talk about some of it. That might be fun.
All right.
As an adjunct podcast.
Yeah.
Frank, anything?
Yeah, a couple of things. I guess I was taking notes here as you were speaking, Jim, and I identified 3 segments of your customers. I guess 2 are very close related. The first is the original builder, who goes out and actually builds the high 6-7-figure homes, which I guess is pretty much your demographic. Next would be the general contractor, who again will do the upgrades to that 6-figure, 7-figure home. And I'm thinking, how proud would I be to say, well, I want you to go visit my my partner. We'd call you my partner at Pirch, as opposed to sending you to one of those big box stores. We have to walk through the lumber and the plants and maybe some glue guns before I get to the appliances, whereas I can go into a showroom. How proud would I be as an original builder or a renovation contractor to say, yes, these are the kind of people that I partner with. That is outstanding. I mean, I think you guys are pushing the hell out of they should be knocking on your door to see, can we represent your products to your store to my potential clients. That allows them to upgrade their value and also their price. And the third one is, I guess, is the one that you're not doing much work in, and that is the individual consumers. And again, you have that demographic that you know who your consumers are. And I was coming up with 3 or 4 ways where we could just bring them into your store for a non-business related function, just to participate, just to view, get an impression of, not to sell. If you sell, they'll walk the hell right out. But just to, and there's 3 or 4 events you could put together in place that say, whatever this event is going to be, we're going to be meeting at Pirch. Pirch is our sponsor for this event. And once they walk in and feel, and I'm going to use the word that we used a lot in relationships, feel the chemistry that they get with your staff and with your store, they're going to remember that when it's time for them or someone close to them is going to look for the type of product that you sell.
Wow. Think this out. That's good thought. What if we did the road show there?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to tell Jim what that's all about. But
yeah.
I mean, the whole model though of bringing people who aren't necessarily in the business of looking for a new appliance, but come to the thing and start looking and, well, I love that thing. I love this place, and it just spreads the word so much quicker.
Right.
One last thing I had, Jim, was how do you pick a product to sell? Because those products have to be pretty solid in performance and maintenance and all that. How do you guys do that? How do you qualify a product to sell?
Well, the way that we select products to sell is pretty simple. If we wouldn't put it in our own home, we won't sell it. And there are brands that are not in my showroom because they're not supportive of the pre-sale, the during the sale, and the post-sale activities that are required. I mean,
that was my point precisely. What your criteria
One thing that that I should mention, and it'd be bad if I didn't, was that we sell the same brands and the same products that the big box stores sell, and and we sell the same laundry, the same everything. the same plumbing fixtures. I mean, because there's the brands are all very widely distributed, and we sell them at the same prices. We just look better doing it. I mean, honestly, if I'm being very blunt, we look better doing it. We display really beautiful luxury items, but if someone said to me, I need a $4.99 cooktop, we do that, and we install those, and we do it every day of the week. And to Frank's point about the about that third category of people who, that retail customer, we actually, last year I probably had, in the showroom, we probably as a team had, I bet you we had 25 events that were non-sales related. For instance, I threw a Christmas party for the Desert Business Association. 96% of those people had never been in my showroom. We hosted 120 folks that night for a buffet dinner that was prepared by my culinary team. And like I said, 96% of those people had never been in my showroom before. Similarly with the American Heart Association, with all of those charity events, with the Rancho Mirage High School, most of those folks were never in our showroom before, and believe me, now they know who we are, and that's how we approach those people. And that's exactly the point behind the event-driven marketing, is to find those people, to give them a reason to come here that has nothing to do with the latest and greatest refrigerator from Sub-Zero. It has everything to do with come be a part of the community, and it's not sales related. And so it's a big part of our presentation.
Wow. Excellent. Well, that's cool. I have some offline stuff to talk to you about then too. Very cool. All right. Anything else, guys? Because we're running long.
Nope.
Good show. Okay. Say goodnight, Dick.
Good night, Dick.
Good night, Dick.
And Jim, thank you so much for being on. And hang on a second. I shall stop this.